Good evening and welcome to another episode of Apolitically Incorrect Guyana. My name is KIAN JABOUR and here on December 1st, I am your host this evening. We have a nice somber show for you today. I've had a few laughs during the course of the day because people kept asking who my guest is today, and honestly, I felt I should just come on and kind of rant, and people had mixed reviews about it. They said, oh, some people love that, and others were like, no, things usually go south when you do that. So what I'd like to do is try to keep it a little bit calm and somber today. As of late, I have not been very vocal politically. And the reason being is, with everything that's going on with this Venezuela controversy, I feel that there are certain times that, our internal issues need to take a back seat. And it may not be what everyone wants to hear or likes to hear, but the truth is there are some things that kind of transcend our small personal problems. And I say small, not because they're trivial. A lot of the issues affect people's lives and, have to do with their quality of living and health and security and those types of things. But issues, for example, the border controversy with Venezuela or the 2020 election saga, situations like that usually often kind of trump some personal, smaller issues that we maybe having here locally. And what everyone, I guess, needs to understand at the same time, the reason these issues are as large as they are is because they affect everyone. And when we talk about other smaller issues, the roads being bad, corruption, issues like that, what you find is not every single one of those things affect everyone. And what we need to remember is there are certain issues that, if they were to come into fruition or they were to, happen without us being as aware as possible, they'll really have a dire effect on all of our lives. And I think it's something very important that we all need to kind of keep in the back of our mind, that if there's nothing we can actually do, then we at least have to be aware and prepared as possible. And that's what I think should be the focus, at least right now, particularly with this Venezuela situation. Obviously, like everyone else in the country, all I've been doing for the last month is talking about this Venezuela situation. And there's so many different angles that it needs to be looked at from. And as somebody in my position, coming onto a public platform like this, speaking to, hundreds of people, thousands of people at times, you really got to be cautious. I need to be careful with the messages that I'm trying to put over, and understanding that it still has an influence, whether, some people agree or not, it still has an influence on people's lives here, people's, emotions. And we have to be very careful and cautious. With that being said, I still believe that I do have a moral obligation, if you will, to be very upfront and speak as much of the truth as I can, at least my truth, when it comes to these scenarios. And I know a lot of people will say, this might not be the time or it won't be, but I believe that, we have to kind of give it an attempt to, if nothing at all, make things better for later or for next time. So let me speak about something that I think all Guyanese need to really and truly understand. And I know people are going to not take this the right way, but I think it's important to be said. For any of us that have traveled and have been around the world and have, gotten a chance to experience different cultures and, see how people live in different areas and parts of the world, what I personally have found is a lot of the progressive countries, a lot of the countries that we look at or look up to even as countries that are leading the world in this day and age, are countries that have been through extremely harsh pasts, extremely violent, war-torn histories. And I'm going to say that a lot of people, again, like I said, are not going to like to hear this, but we have been very, very fortunate here in Guyana. When you look at countries around the world in which families have been ripped apart, in which people have kicked down people's doors around the world and murdered their families in front of them. People have come into your lives and taken your homes away. We talk about Burnham, for example, banning flour and how horrible it was and having to line up for food. I mean, we really don't understand what so much of the world has been through when it comes to not having any food at all, not having any control of whether they live or die today. And it sounds a little bit harsh, but Guyana has had a very, very easy run, all right? And people are going to disagree with that, and especially the older generation. But even more so, up to my generation, your 40s, 30s, 40s, and anything before, we really have had such a peaceful life. It sounds ridiculous, and we could talk about, we've had rioting and we've had, our issues of civil unrest, but we're not talking about what, for example, the Gaza is going through, the Gaza Strip. We're not talking about what Ukraine is going through. We're not talking about what Syria is going through. Somalia, you really got to understand that when the world has to understand, what hardship is in order to move forward, we have been very lucky, and it's really horrible things, and we have been very lucky. And I say this in a precursor of a conversation about Venezuela because, we walking around here every day, and I'm sure you guys, like myself, are getting very different opinions in the context of, some people saying, Maduro just bluffing, he ain't gonna do nothing. It's elections time coming up next year, so he just kind of posturing and throwing a bluff. And then there are other people that have, literally already packed up their bags and left. All right, believe that or not, any way you want to twist or turn it. There are people that have said, this is a little too intense for us. We are too scared, and have actually packed up their families and said, let's go away for a little while, at least for the Christmas, at least for December. So there are people that are taking this very differently, all right? And what I don't like, and I'm going to start on our leadership now. What I don't like is the mixed messages we've been getting from the government of Guyana, from the PPP government. We sit down here and watch the president meet with Brazil or meet with the Americans, and we watch troops come in and we watch them set up hospitals, temporary hospitals, and we watch them talk about, let's get you guys ready just in case of anything. And then you have other government officials going around the place to companies and other places and saying, don't worry about it. Nothing is going to happen. And I'm sorry. You cannot be sending messages like that are completely swaying left, right, and center. You cannot go onto a stage like the president did, wearing a military outfit saying, we will defend Guyana to the end, and then ups and leaving and saying, hey, I'm going to talk about the rainforest in Dubai. You can't do that to people. That's not leadership. This is our homes, all right? We have our children here, all right? This is poor leadership that make people very uncomfortable, okay? And I say that with the understanding of what I explained earlier, is that we have had it so easy here in our history that I don't think that our leadership is understanding how scared we are. Okay, and that is what is occurring now in this country. We talk to any business people in the country right now. Things have slowed down. All right, talk to customs and GRA. Things have slowed down. All right, and then you continue on with even down to something as silly as every time people get a blackout, they get super nervous. All right. Yes, there's a lot of mixed messages coming out from Venezuela, from the social media aspects and so on. But I'm sorry, people have a legitimate reason to be scared. And this is the time of all that the government of this country should have shown how organized we are, how strategically set up we are, how much we have in place when it comes to fail-safes and just in cases. And I'm sorry, you know why everyone is upset and as scared as they are? Because we have quickly now started to realize that there is nothing in place. There are no systems set up. We are probably at our most fragile we have ever been. And that is terrifying to us. Because we know that if Venezuela decide, let's call their bluff. Let's say they were being real. Not call their bluff. Let's assume that they're legitimate threats. And they decide they're going to walk over that border. We are all this scared because we don't know what the plan is. What exactly is going to happen? You tell us that, oh, people are ready to come and help defend and we have partners. Where? Who are they? How come by now, 2 days before December 3rd, we ain't even got a tank on the ground, not a plane landed at our airport, not a helicopter to say, don't worry, we can move troops back and forth. Nothing, not a boat to defend Essequibo. I don't understand it. This is poor leadership. We are scared. And I'm not saying that to make people more scared. I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible, okay? Because all of us are in the same position here. We have businesses and families. Even us politicians, we have families and businesses here. We have invested money here. What's next? What if Venezuela do come? Tell us what the plan is. I'm beginning to think, not beginning, I've convinced myself by now, you don't have a plan. And that, I'm sorry, is poor leadership. You cannot be telling us right now, in this stage of turmoil and fear, that we still get in blackouts. Like we don't even have our basic necessities set and firmly planted. The people are I'm sorry, this is just poor leadership. The people are scared. You guys have gone up and said, oh, don't worry, I'm coming back in 2 days. Yet you're standing on a stage saying in military clothes, don't worry, you're gone to the border and sleeping in hammock. You're gonna put on flag and pretend like, don't worry, we can defend us. With what? Show us and tell us. This cannot be a strategic military plan if you haven't even told us we are capable of defending ourselves. That's not a plan. Because the people need to feel confident. For even if it's just for business to go on, even if it's for people to have a good Christmas. This is poor leadership. People sitting down here, I always go back to my analogy. I always say, you know what is the first thing people do when they get a little money? You know, the first thing people do when they win the lottery? Like how we win the oil lottery? They build a bigger fence. You want to know why? You want to know why they up their security? Because we now have something that people want. We now have something to lose. We now have something of value. This is not just a poor third world country anymore. We have one of the largest oil reserves in the world per capita. Even not per capita, I think it's something like 11 billion barrels. Guess what? If a bigger, badder, stronger country thinks, oh my God, I could just walk over and take them. They ain't even got no guns, they ain't got no boat, they ain't got no plane, they ain't got nothing. I could just go and take the oil from them, they can't do nothing. Guess what? People will do it just like a regular thief man. Just like if I win the lottery and I go and buy a big fancy TV and I go and upgrade my house and I go and buy a fancy car and I don't change the locks on my door, or I don't build a fence, or I don't put up cameras, or I don't get security guard, guess what? Somebody will come and thief my thing. It sounds bad. I'm trying to say it in a way you'll understand. Okay? What we've realized is that there is poor planning that has happened here. That everybody just talking about money, a business and development, and nobody talking about, well, what about the dangers and threats that have now mounted as well, that have now become more real as well? Even down to our personal security in this country. Something as simple as developing our police. You're talking about big businesses and, oh, look, everybody making more money. Well, first of all, we know that's bullshit. But secondly, if everybody's getting richer, obviously, theft and crime is going to go up. What have you done with the police force to make the roads and streets and our homes safer? It's the same thing on a larger scale. Now that Essequibo and the Stabroek Block and the Isle and the maritime boundaries and all of that are much richer and have much more resources, what have you done to protect it and keep it safe? This is the problem here. I know people don't need to hear this, and I hope I'm not making people more scared, but we have to, first of all, I hope that the faction of the government that's saying, oh, don't worry about it, they're not coming, I hope they're right. I truly hope they're right, okay? I feel like they are. I feel like it'd be a far step for Venezuela to come over, but I can also be a little bit of a realist, all right? I can also say, you know what? It's not impossible. Venezuela, this is, as much as we want to say, oh, we've had conflict with Venezuela, they've said and done these things before. The truth is, they've never gone this far. This has never reached this stage before, which is, they've never done a referendum before. The entire, and this is what's interesting, you know, we sit down here and say, oh, it's government and it's Maduro posturing for elections. But here's what's interesting. Usually in the past, when these things have happened and Maduro or Chavez or whoever has said, you know, we come in for Essequibo, usually there was a part of the parliament, being the opposition or whoever else, the government, the Venezuelan government, said, no, this is a bad idea, we shouldn't do this. You know what's scary now? The entire Venezuelan government, executive and opposition are on board. Are on board with this. They've all said, yes, let's go. Let's take Venezuela, let's annex it. They've come together in a unified way in their parliament and said, you know what? We need to take Essequibo. That's scary, okay? We've heard, we've seen their social media. We've seen all the people on social media, all the Venezuelans that are commenting under all of our posts, the whole social media campaign that they've launched to say, don't worry with Guyana, the Essequibo is our own. Let's even go even further. Let's talk about how unprepared and undeveloped our border protection is when we have boatloads of Venezuelans coming over, undocumented Venezuelans, boatloads. Okay, even now, this scares people. So now we have. Let me. You know what? I can call me the voice of doom. I'm going to try and be as real as I possibly can here, because at least in my untrained, thought process, in my untrained, military mind, I at least have to sit down and tell myself, Kian, what are worst case scenarios that can occur here? So I sat down today and yesterday for that matter, and you know what the conversation was? We have all of these undocumented Venezuelans in, thousands. And don't get me wrong, a lot of them are here to get away from Venezuela and are here for a better life, and are trying to make, even contributing to Guyana for that matter, even contributing developmentally to Guyana. There are lots of them, okay? But then you have to understand that we all know for a fact that there are some bad elements here. So we have had not only good Venezuelans, but definitely bad Venezuelans that have come over here and are very capable of causing trouble. Now, here is what we worry about. Here's one way I look at this. In our past, we've had the escapees, Troy Brown, I think, and, Blackie and all the escapees. And those were four, and even up to the other day, those were 4 and 5 guys that went on an absolute, murder, massacre here in Guyana, caused horrific chaos in our society, right? Drove fear into our hearts. Now, here's what I worry about. What if 100 Venezuelans, 200 Venezuelans decide, you know what? We were put here to create some civil unrest, some social unrest, and 200 of them get up and say, guys, we've been activated, let me go and cause a little trouble in society. They cause trouble over the river, they kill some people, they kidnap some people, hey, they do this, they do that, and they cause trouble all around society. Within one day, 100 people get hurt or injured in Guyana. And all of a sudden, all of our hospitals are full. All of a sudden, all of our police resources are used up. All of a sudden, we can't even deal with our internal problems. Okay? And then all of a sudden, and then you still got to deal with a border dispute. This is what I'm not understanding. If we can't see by now how unprepared we are for anything, how all of this is just lip service from this government and a facade of progress, we have got to start opening our eyes. We have to start understanding this as a people. This is not right. I'm not again, we are all here to defend Guyana. We love this country. We'll do everything we can to not let anything happen to Guyana. But we have to be more prepared. We had all the money in the world. We have more money than we know what to do with. Okay? We have to start doing more and becoming more prepared. We need proper leadership that will sit down and say, my first priority is protecting Guyanese and Guyana. Not making money for my friends and my family partner. That is not the first priority. Our security is our first priority. Our health, our education, those are priorities, not building roads. It sounds terrible, and everybody, disagree all you want. But we have human basic needs that we need here first before we run off and start talking about, oh, look at this development, Silica City and gas to shore project. Shut up. Nobody cares about that. We have to be safe first. And what we've realized now is we are not safe at all. All these partnerships and countries that you keep talking about. Oh, don't worry, we got friends. Oh, we gone to Dubai to talk to people about strategic partnerships. Show me one plane here. Show me one helicopter. If the Venezuelans decide to drive 50 boats in their navy down Essequibo River and say nobody ain't passing in no more, what are we doing to stop it? We have nothing. And this is why people are scared. Okay, we have to start being realistic. We're all here. We're all going to do our best. We're all going to stop and we're all going to make sure that we contribute positively any way we can. But what can we do? What can we do? You here, you want another good conversation? I got a good conversation that came up. You know what? If you and I know that our military is not capable of defending us if Venezuela was to invade, then why not at this stage, if you are saying, which you have said multiple times, this is a legitimate threat, okay? You're gone on stage in a military outfit. You tell me you're going to talk to partners about defending us. You got the Americans here, 10 soldiers here that helping us, come up with strategies. So you're showing us that this is a legitimate threat from Venezuela. Then how come at this point in time, you are not allowing all legitimate people to get their gun license? Okay, all people that are legitimate and capable meet the criteria. How come you're not letting everyone get their gun license now? Because if you know the military can't save us, at least give us the chance to save ourselves. At least, bare minimum. You done got these security companies for your friends and family that got hundreds of guns on the road, but it's only within one circle of people. Why not give everybody the opportunity at least to defend their property? At bare minimum. Who can't leave, at least they could fight. If and this again is if you are saying the threat is legitimate. You're gonna lie down in a hammock at the border where I'm with my troops. You're gonna fly a helicopter on the top of the mountain and put up flag. I'm here to support Guyana and stand. Okay, well, give us an opportunity to help. It doesn't make any sense. Because all we're doing here is feeling like sitting ducks. More needs to be done, okay? Not just a bunch of people running around with stickers on their shirts saying one Guyana or Essequibo is we own. Come on, guys, this is real to a lot of us here. This is real to us. We are scared, okay? And we walk around every day talking about it. People not spending money, all right? People buy in US just to make sure they got cash. The market price has gone through the roof even more. What are we doing? We gotta start being serious, all right? I'm gonna talk about something else. I'm gonna shift gears right now. It'll all tie back into Venezuela. I'm gonna shift gears right now into something that has to be said because so much people are suffering in Guyana now, and this nonsense is being swept under the rug. And I know when I say swept under the rug, not maybe purposely, but at the same time, because of what's going on with the Venezuela controversy. I'm gonna ask the technician to please bring up this Guy Suko news article that I sent you guys. Look at this. This came out yesterday. Now this is just wrong, okay? I'm sorry to Instagram. I'll show you guys. Anyways, I'll read it out. It says from news source GY, it says, the state-owned Guyana Sugar Corporation has informed management and staff that their November salaries and week-ending 2nd December wages will be delayed until further notice. owing to an unavailability of funds. Workers who are paid both monthly and weekly are expecting their salaries and wages on Friday. However, this morning, a letter from the Human Resources Department informed them of the delay. Regrettably, the corporation must inform you that wages and salaries are delayed until further notice. This is due to the unavailability of funds. We appreciate your support in this delicate matter. The letter to the workers from the head of Human Resources. Now, I'm sorry. I am sorry. This is Christmas coming. People are scared because of what's happening with the Venezuela situation. You just took out almost $200 billion out of the Natural Resource Fund over the past couple withdrawals. Where is the money? This is a national company. This is owned by the state. This is government run. How are you going to tell these hundreds, if not thousands of workers that you ain't got money to pay them? Are you crazy? In this kind of situation, in this kind of turmoil, you have the money. You have the oil money. You keep talking about billions of dollars in road contracts. How can you not give these people money? That's madness to me. This is like, let me tell you what this is to me. This is the government creating a problem and then going to come in and say, don't worry, we'll give all of you money, to pretend like they are the solution. Look at us, we are the savior, we protecting you guys. You are not paying them. You are the government that has decided not to pay them. What are you talking about? I'm not even gonna get started on the $25,000 that you thought was a good bonus. I don't even know what you're calling it. 25,000 Guyana dollars that you gave public servants. 25,000 Guyana dollars. And you know, the PPP friends, the PPP sympathizers, you know this thing better than nothing, you know. You're right. It's better than nothing. You're absolutely right. It's better than nothing. But guess what? Your life ain't changing with that money. This hasn't made your life any better. It may have temporarily delayed or prolonged your suffering, but this hasn't made things better. It's a spit in the face. And these are the things that people are wrapped up with now, all while feeling scared because this country has the potential to be invaded. This is not right. This is not how things work. This is poor leadership. You know, I try to be as honest as possible. I try to be as real as possible. You know, I hear it over and over. I have political agendas. I have, you know, I come from privilege. Well, you know, I could leave if I want. I have dual citizenship. I have, you know, whatever else, you know, people say that I have. But, you know, it's only, again, until you've traveled the world, it's only until you've really seen how other people around the world live that you realize how fragile all that is. It's nothing. All right. And I think people need to start understanding that in this day and age. And I keep saying that this Christmas here is going to be a catalyst for the leadership of this country. And I'm saying that with all seriousness. You know, I remember the catalyst for APN UAFC was the, well, obviously the no confidence motion, but also the parking meter scenario. And what we're quickly realizing now is that everyone is feeling this. Everyone in this country is feeling the pressure. I don't care if you're the biggest business in the country or the smallest, all right? Everyone is feeling it. Everyone is watching their expenses go through the roof. Everybody's struggling to pay their salary, their wages, because people obviously are demanding more money and people are losing staff because they're jumping all over the place looking for more money. People are feeling the crime that has gone through the roof. And at the end of the day, when Christmas comes and, such a large portion of this population realizes I can't buy my children gifts. I can't buy them, proper food. Like, I can't even take a couple of days off. Like, I gotta hope my business, gives me my bonus, obviously, except for Gaisuko. But people get, this is where people turn. This is where people realize it's too much now. This is where people realize that something is wrong here. This is poor leadership. We are not supposed to be feeling like this. We are not supposed to be suffering like this. Even when this country has more money than we know what to do with. 10 million US dollars a day on oil is what Guyana is making. Where is the money? Where is it? Why are we driving on roads that are still garbage? Why are we still, watching the crime rate go through the roof and worry about walking in a yard every night? Why is it that we watching, 50% of our children still fail common entrance? Why is it that we gotta worry? Oh my gosh, look at the state of our public hospitals. And again, this is no fault of our doctors and nurses. This has all to do with the administration. How are we still in this position? We sit down here and preach. Oh gosh, I watched President Ali's press conference the other day about the Venezuela situation. And at the end of the press conference, all he talking about is how much roads they build. I sitting there going, as the person, the political figure I probably respect most, Mr. Timothy Jonas said, people can't eat roads. All right? And nobody ain't digging for oil with a pickaxe and a shovel. So how exactly is everybody gaining from this? Where? And this is the problem we're having in the country now. I promised I was gonna talk about crime a little bit on the show today. I sat down today with a friendly group, and we were talking about what's going on in Guyana, and crime is through the roof at the moment. We all know how it's happened at Christmas, but more so now than any time, and I hear all the news people. I watch Newsroom. I read in Chronicle. I watch all the social media people. I watch everyone. We call it a hobby of mine. I watch everyone, and we talk about what is going on in Guyana, and all they do is talk about crime and how bad crime is. Now, what I try to do is sit down and say, well, geez, yeah, crime is really bad right now. I agree with all of you. Everything you're saying, crime is bad. I'm on board. Now, my question is, and always is, why is crime bad? This always has to be the root. Everybody, anytime you are faced with a problem, find out what the root of this problem is. Why is crime bad in Guyana right now? And it boils down to, obviously, a multi-tiered issue. So let's start with the first thing. They just got some people out there that are bad. Okay? Let's just say it for, everyone else's, all the other people out there that look at things from a different perspective. They just got evil people out there. Okay? They got evil people that just like crime. They just, as far as they're concerned, no matter how much you're willing to pay them, they can thief. Okay? I'm with you on that. There are some people that are just kleptomaniacs. They just want thief all the time. Now, there are also people that are addicted to drugs, let's say. Okay? These people now are desperate to get money quick. So they steal, they thief your mirrors off your car, they snatch your phone. They are contributors to crime. So we got bad people. We have people who are addicted to drugs or have mental illness, those people. And then the third factor is the police force and its lack of capabilities. Well, the police ain't doing their job. Everywhere in the world got problems, but at least, when you pick up your phone and call 911, people is come to your house. Or at least the patrols ain't taking bribes from thief man and getting away with crime. Or bare minimum, and I know this is a very common situation, some police even involved in the crime. Okay? So we know the police is another factor. Okay? And then you have the fourth area. And this is the area that, to me, I think is what shows, again, leadership. This obviously coupled with the poor police force is desperation. Okay? The next main cause of crime is desperation. All right? What do I mean by desperation? You got the child crying at home, and you have to feed them. You got rent to pay, or else you're living on the road. All right? You got to put food in the table. Your belly hurting. Okay? You are desperate. So you know what? I can't find a job that can pay me enough to sustain me and my child life, so I don't have a choice but to thief things. It sounds horrible, but I'm sorry. It's a reality of life. All right? So for example, let's just give another very interesting hypothetical. Let's say somebody has come over from Venezuela, sorry. Okay? Doesn't speak a word of English, running from Venezuela because there's no food and they were desperate over there. And they're fleeing because their life is in danger. They get here, they don't speak any English, they can't get a job because they got no documents, they have nowhere to live, they gone on the road, they're sleeping in a car, they tuck into a bus shed, and they're just trying to survive. How long before you think that person that doesn't even know where they are, doesn't know a single person here, doesn't speak the language, don't even know where to go and get food, how long before you think that person will turn and see an opportunity where some lady walking with your bag and snatch it? How long? How long before they take a knife and they see somebody riding a bicycle and stick them up and take it? That's desperation, okay? These are real scenarios. And we might sit here in Guyana because of our easy lives that we've always had and say, they still don't need to thief. There's always another option. Well, guess what? Maybe for you, you feel that way because, you know, you can come up with other options, but sometimes people just can't. Sometimes people just go into their depression, go into their silk. They get desperate, they get hungry. They just have to do something right now. And if they had opportunities, they wouldn't be doing it. So I want to stick on that. On the fact that people are desperate in this country. Every day you see people just petty crime, thieving, going into a store, just picking up something and tucking it in the shut. Or, you know, a group of boys just going and you know, snatch things off, or snatch some cell phones and run away with it. That's not because all of them just bad, man. The truth is, now let's break it down economically for you. Let's try to do this logically. Your car mirror. Your little mirrors on your car that, oh God, everybody keep thieving. The caps, they steal the cap of the back, they steal your antenna at the top, they steal your actual mirror, they steal your hubcaps, they steal your lights. Now, one of them things on the black market, as we all know, $10,000, $15,000. And the thing take them all of 3 seconds, go plop, plop, pop them off, push them in the pocket and run away. Then people got $15,000. They just making 8 seconds. Now, what job paying them that much money? No, you're sitting down here and you're wondering, well, they still shouldn't be stealing. But again, is it not the lack of opportunity, the lack of people, at least the affordability of having a comfortable life? It might not be the big flashy high life, but at least paying their bills. Minimum wage in this country is still $60,000. So even if they work a normal job, they can't pay their bills. It doesn't make any sense. If people cannot survive, they will turn to things like crime. If people can't feed their children on $160,000 a month, they will steal. How do you not understand this? Even if they're walking and they get in the 160, they still gonna go and thief because they still gotta make up the money somehow. Guys, this is the situation we're in here. This is what the country is dealing with. These are the problems that we have. All right? Now, I promised I'm actually going to cut the show a little short today, just telling the tech team. And the reason for this is, guys, I don't need to sit down here and preach politics right now. I know we have a lot coming up on Sunday, on December 3rd, and it's really not it's really not, I don't think it's correct to just keep bashing and talking about all these little, like I said at the beginning, these little problems. It's something that I know a lot of us Guyanese are worried about. We have to hope for the best. All right. We have to be unified. Whether we have the leadership or not, Guyanese need to come together, and even at this, just for this point in time, even if it's not an actual like invasion or anything like that, people are suffering. People are scared. People are, moving out. People are, trying to find any sort of mental kind of comfort in making sure them and their families are safe. So we have to be a little understanding to each other here. We have to start speaking and openly talking about what's going on and what can happen and how we can all help. All right. It sounds like, well, what can I do? I know I personally feel the same way. What can I do? I can't go fight the Venezuelan army, but at the same time, at bare minimum, we can at least try, keep our business going, make sure people are getting, opportunities. For example, I have a restaurant. I think to myself, okay, if things were to really get bad, at least, I can take a percentage of this and I can try to, feed or help or send food or, whoever's in need. And those just small things like that. And I think everybody kind of needs to think about contributing, rather than worrying about protection, because we can't do anything to protect ourselves. All we can do is try to put our hands together and contribute. And that's how we make this work. And I'm hoping that a lot of people here get a little bit of comfort from this. We're all in this together. Don't feel alone. And I can tell you, I went through the election saga, and I know how many people get super depressed and super hopeless in these times. And I want to tell you guys, we're all in this together. We are all feeling it. We're all right here in Guyana. And we have to make sure that at the end of the day, you guys understand, and I always judge a society by its weakest people, not weakest, frail and fragile, but the people that are feeling it the most. And I want you guys to all know, again, we are all in this together. All right. As much as I can rant and ramble about politics and things that are affecting certain people in and around the country, I'm going to tell you that at the end of the day, if this government says we all need to be here together, we all need help, I personally am telling you, I will be there to help. I will never look at them and say, no, you ain't help me. I will never turn. I will never stop lending my support in these types of times of needs. I did it for the 2020 election, and I will do it again here for Venezuela, for the Venezuela controversy. All right. And so we're all in this together. And I hope you all know that we are worried. We are very still optimistic. We feel like, we do still have options, and we're hoping that at the end of the day, all of this will just pass. The referendum will happen, and the Venezuelans will realize that, they're not going to go this route anymore. And as the court has ruled today, they stated that Venezuelan Guyana should do everything. It's an actual order that stated that the peace must be kept at all times. There should be nothing to cause any distress or disrupt the current situation, which is Guyana being in control of Essequibo. That is our sovereign land at the moment, and the court has ruled that as an interim order that Venezuela should do nothing to hamper that. And we're going to hope that Venezuela respects the law and will abide by its rulings. All right. So the law is on our side. That's always something very positive, and I hope you all understand that. At this point in time, the court it's a very positive thing for Guyana. The court has definitely ruled in our favor, so it's a step in the right direction. So let's keep positive this weekend. The referendum, I'm going to be again I'm going to look at things as extreme as possible. Even if the referendum says yes, Venezuela should take action when it comes to taking control of Essequibo. Let's hope that Maduro and their government will state the ICJ's ruling will stand for now until that full ruling comes into play. Just so everybody understands a little more, that's just an interim ruling. The full ruling is still yet to come. Is still yet to come. So we have to just be a little bit patient and hope that our neighbors, Venezuela, and the Maduro government also abide by that timeline in waiting for the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, to rule. All right. So on that note, guys, just be very positive coming forward. December 3rd, don't panic. No, I'm sure nothing is going to happen on December 3rd right then and there. I know it's still trying times, but the court is in our favor, and we have to stay positive and optimistic and hope Venezuela just holds on anything they were thinking about or, or considering, and just saying, let's wait for the ICJ ruling. All right, the law is on our side at this point in time. On that note, last but not least, it is my little daughter's birthday this weekend, also on Sunday, December 3rd. I know that's a little not the best day at this point in time, but nonetheless, maybe something a little positive and optimistic. We still have our babies here. Our younger generation is still here, and we need to stay positive and put on a good face and show them and make sure they feel safe and comfortable. Because believe it or not, they do understand, they do hear and know what's going on. So always be safe, always make them feel protected, and sure that no matter what, you will make sure that they are safe and comfortable. All right. On that note, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will be back here next Friday, of course, on Apolitically Incorrect Guyana on this Friday evening. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and be safe on the roads and stay positive. Take care.